trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, please double check and make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been receiving those notifications, okay? Because I see that ScrewTube has unsubscribed about 6 to 10 people, okay, just since yesterday, okay? So I definitely know they're not going to get the notifications. Now, with that all being said, do your due diligence and make sure you double check. All right, so with that all being said, hello, Reggie. All right, Claudette, Deronda, Nessa G, Lillian X, Danceman, Bronze Flat Power God, We the People, Vince I Am, all the way from the UK, Aqua Girl, Rising, Dangerous, Pensy, Lola, Let's Get Into It, 504 Dola, We the People. All right, the lovely T, Claudette, G from the land. Okay, Shawshana is here. Love Christy. All right, Sheila, I see you. LL is in the virtual building. Okay, so shout out to everyone, all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay, so before we get into it, let's have a brief word from my sponsors at 12 Tribe. I see you, Annette, Mr. Elevation. Okay, here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so with that all been said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil. Okay, so let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about this bill that Trump has signed. Okay, let's get into it. Trump signed a bill. Let me let you all see what it says. All right. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Law signed by Trump for the WHO survivors proves reparation is possible, just not for Black Americans. Okay? They can absolutely give reparations if they wanted to, but they just don't want to give them to us. All right, so y'all need to quit asking because these people are never going to give you reparations. Okay, I think right now everyone should know that. Okay, you can ask all you want, it's not happening. Okay, please pay attention. Now, that all being said, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So here's what it says. And we know they've already been getting reparations previously. Now, the question that we have is not whether the U.S. can and does provide restitution. It's who gets it and who is able to make the claim. All right, please pay attention. So, a bill signed into law expanding legal pathways for the people that are the survivors of the incident that happened in Germany, okay, around 1945, for them to retrieve stolen artifacts and property is bringing the reparations fight for African Americans back to the forefront. Now, as advocates point to the bill as further evidence that the United States is capable of remedying harms done to a racial or ethnic group. Now, on Monday, President Donald Trump signed it is called the Holocaust Expropriated Art Recovery Act of 2025, known as HEAR, H-E-A-R, a bill passed by Congress that updates a law that establishes a process for these victims and their heirs to recover artwork and cultural property stolen by the Yazidis between 1933 and 1945. The law was initially signed by President Barack Obama in 2016. The updated bipartisan law signed by Trump permanently extends and expands judicial authority, expands federal court jurisdiction and strips away legal defenses used by museums and institutions to dismiss claims. Now, here's where I want you all to pay attention. So this means that any of their things that were taken and put in museums, they can just get that back. But what about all of our ancestors' things that were stolen? Okay, what about all the stolen things from Africa that are in the British museums and other places? Okay, do y'all hear this? They don't give a damn about people that look like me in this country. Okay, and I think that it's high time that everybody just accepts that for what it is and just stops worrying about reparations because why? It's not coming. Okay, it's just not coming. Stop wasting your energy and focus on something else. Now, with that all being said, racial justice advocates say that while they welcome the law establishing redress to the Jewish victims, the law illuminates obvious hypocrisy and contradictions as it relates to reparations for the descendants of enslaved Africans. Well, we already know that, but here's the thing. Like I said before, people need to stop, we as a people need to stop just making it about slavery. Okay, that's how they get you. First of all, let us not forget all the other heinous atrocities that happened, the medical genocide, the blacklining, the redlining, okay, the police brutality, all right, the lynchings, okay, let's not forget any of that, all the stuff we went through Jim Crow, okay, having to fight for civil rights, okay, think about all of that, all of those nefarious things, okay. When you just make it about slavery, they're going to always find a loophole. All right, so please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, the question that we have is not whether the U.S. can and does provide restitution, but who gets it and who gets to make the claim and what barriers are there to making the claim. This is what Dryden Heath, a reparations researcher and founder of the Why We Can't Wait Reparations Network, this is what they said. Now, Heath, who has advertised on reparative justice legislation on Capitol Hill, he's advised on this, told the Grill that the HERE Act strips away the types of legal barriers that Black communities continue to face, achieving justice for both historical crimes since their enslavement in 1619 and present-day crimes. Now, she explained historical crimes as it relates to lynching and forced displacement and racial terror, all the way to police violence with qualified immunity, all of these different features that are protected by the legal system. She continued to say, it just continues to show what's possible and what's feasible. Throughout decades of advocacy, both within and outside of the federal government, generations of racial justice advocates have pushed for various forms of reparations for Black Americans, from an official apology on behalf of the United States to H.R. 40, first introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives in 1989, to establish a commission to study the impact of chattel slavery and recommend economic and social remedies to redress its generational harms. Here's the thing. Every time it comes to us in reparations, they need to do some sort of darn study. What the hell are they studying? You know what happened, you know who did it, and you know that we need to be paid for it, but they're never going to, okay? Also, at the end of the day, you know, they've given reparations to a myriad of people in this country. Okay, that's how you should know. They just don't want us to have it. There's never been a question of if they have it. They've always had it. Okay, how do you think they gave reparations to the Irish, the Italians, okay, the Native Americans, please, the Japanese, everybody, okay, the slave owners after slavery ended? Okay, so it's just ridiculous. Now, whenever it's about African Americans in slavery, people make reparations like it's a dirty word or never going to happen. This is what Dr. Marcus Anthony Hunter, a professor of African American Studies at UCLA, who has worked on reparations legislation and advised members of Congress. Dr. Hunter, who is also the author of Radical Reparations, Healing the Soul of a Nation, tells the Griot that the signing of the HERE Act shows that reparative justice policies can be enacted swiftly, but also reveals a recognition hierarchy. He explains, saying, not so much that perhaps deservingness isn't there, it's just that in the hierarchy of harm and historical harms, the Holocaust seems to remain at the top, okay, and American slavery remains somewhere at the bottom. Well, we already know why that is. Okay, because definitely I don't think it was worse than what we went through, our ancestors, and more of our ancestors lost their lives and went through it for a whole lot longer, for hundreds of years, centuries, not just a decade or less. Now, the signing of the HERE Act also comes just weeks after the U.S. government voted alongside Is Not Real in Argentina as the only nations in the world to reject the United Nations resolution declaring the transatlantic slave trade the gravest crime against humanity. In defending its no vote, U.S. Ambassador Don Negria said voting yes would create a hierarchy of crimes against humanity. Advocates say that U.S. actions like the HERE Act and reparations issued to Japanese Americans incarcerated during World War II, while repeatedly turning a blind eye to reparations for African Americans, are a blatant contradiction. Well, this is all nothing new. I've been saying the same for years, and you all already know this to be the case. Now, it is revealing, said Dr. Hunter, there is a different access point that certain groups have to our government. There are folks receiving legislation, receiving repair, receiving forms of restitution through the same mechanism that are not working in favor of for the same request coming from African Americans around chattel slavery. Well, that's because the racist people like MAGA, those types, they hate on Black folk and don't want to see us have anything. So they'll always fight against it and claim that the money's coming out of their taxes. Well, they never say that about anyone else who has received reparations. Another frontier in the battle for reparations was highlighted on Wednesday at the UN Permanent Forum on People of African Descent in Geneva, Switzerland. Ironically, the international body's agenda, like the HERE Act, focused on the return of cultural artifacts. Now, during the meeting, Reverend Mark Thompson, an activist and member of the United Nations Economic and Social Council, highlighted a report that found that 90 to 95% of Africa's cultural heritage is held outside the continents. Let us not forget that the biggest diamond, that huge diamond that Queen Elizabeth had in her crown for all those decades, that came from Africa. Okay, and they should be able to get it back. Now, that includes an estimated 70,000 artifacts in Paris, 73,000 in London, 180,000 artifacts in Belgium, and an estimated 500,000 artifacts in Germany. Okay, now when looking at the diaspora as a whole, including the Americas and Europe, the concentration of these artifacts remains overwhelmingly in the hands of major Western national institutions rather than the descendant communities themselves. This is what Thompson explained. Now, he went on to say the piracy of African diasporic cultural artifacts touches the injury areas of physical and mental injury, emotional suffering, economic loss, substantial impairment of fundamental rights, loss of peoplehood and nationhood, and education. Thompson also added that we were the first civilization and we deserve to have our artifacts returned. Heath of the Why We Can't Wait Reparations Network told the Griot that other examples of lost artifacts and belongings can be found in places like Tulsa, Oklahoma, where Black residents were murdered and their communities were burned in a race massacre in 1921, saying that their community wasn't just run down by the coordinated effort of the city and state and the county to expel Black folks. Their homes were also looted, their family Bibles, their business ledgers, their photographs, jewelry that passed down from formerly enslaved grandparents. Those are material evidence of Black humanity and Black progress. This is what Heath explained, saying that just even from these hyperlocal cases, we can see through state-sanctioned violence what has been taken, let alone what artifacts did not come from over the oceans. Now, the racial justice advocate emphasized that in addition to mechanisms through the federal government, there are communal practices that can be undertaken to reclaim possessions belonging to Black victims of racial violence. She shared as an example of a reparations network of Japanese Americans surveying eBay and auction sites for items belonging to family members that are being sold without their knowledge. Imagine picking up a newspaper ad or signing online, thinking you're going to buy a new hot pair of Nikes, and you come across this deeply meaningful and emotional piece of family history. This is what she told the Griot. And while there are cultural institutions like the Smithsonian dedicated to identifying and preserving Black artifacts, he points to the Trump administration's efforts to police and overhaul it. Okay? Saying those cultural institutions are under attack as well. So it's all this cycle of preservation that we have to stay committed to. Okay, so what do y'all think? What do you all think, beloveds? Hold on just a second. I'm looking for the name of that diamond that Queen Elizabeth had in her crown. The Cullinan diamond, that's it. Okay, also known as the Great Star of Africa. Okay, and then they have the Cullinan II, the second star of Africa. This diamond is 3,106 carats. Okay, with a rough diamond cut into 9 main stones, with the Cullinan I having 530.2 carats set in the sovereign scepter, and Cullinan II 317.4 carats set in the imperial crown. Okay, and let me just show you all a picture of it in case you missed it. They're talking about artifacts. Okay, I think definitely that the Black folks artifacts should be returned. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen. That's right. Alcohol said no shame. Exactly, beloved. None whatsoever. Y'all see this diamond? Look at it. It's beautiful. Look how large it is right there. Okay? Was in the midst of her crown all that time. Clearly stolen. But, you know, when it comes to Black folk, I guess they get to rape, rob, and pillage. Please pay attention. So, you know, I really feel like at this point it's pointless. I think at this time it's pointless for Black people to keep asking for reparations, because I mean it should be blatantly obvious it's never going to happen. Listen, those people in Tulsa, Oklahoma who were asking for reparations, and those people over 100 years old, I told you all years ago, they're just waiting on those people to die. Okay, they're not going to do anything substantial. They're not going to give those people anything. And if they don't want to pay them for something that happened in the 1900s and 1921, when they literally bombed these people, Come on, there's no excuse. If they didn't give them reparations for that, you already know that they're not going to give any to the rest of us, okay? It is what it is. It is what it is. Now, above all that drama says the bones from the move victims. Exactly. Okay. And thank you for your for being a member for 5 months. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, with that all being said, moving right along. I don't have time to tarry this morning, beloveds. We have a lot to talk about, and I'm trying to get through it and get to it. Okay, so please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, I actually got started about an hour later than I wanted to. Okay, due to circumstances beyond my control. But let's talk about these veterans, these disabled veterans who they were arrested. Hold on, let me go to the footage. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Had them locked up. I find it all so interesting. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Star Jammer said, thanks, Barack. Exactly, right? Because he sure signed it in 2016. He sure did. And who knew?
He's illegal. Are we running people? We are all
U.S. military veterans protest war in Iran inside Congress building. Star Jammer, beloved, I did tell you to forget about it, but you can continue to think and wait and hope and wish. You can go right ahead, honey. You don't have to do what I said. That's just my opinion. You're never going to get it. None of us are, and that's just what it is. And if they ever do, it certainly won't be in our lifetime. That's just facts. Okay, like I said, it's been how long? Nobody's got nothing. Okay, please. Now, even when they did the study, they still didn't give us anything. So please, I'm tired of waiting. That's all I'm saying. You can spend your life waiting and wishing, but I'm going to move on. I have other things to concern myself with.
And bring our troops home now. We, and the majority of the American people, do not support these wars. Why? Because we are tired of seeing our brothers and sisters dying or coming home with physical pain and mentally broken PTSD and moral injury for what they have experienced or done. We are tired of innocent people killed in the crossfire as it was wars for greed and personal ambition. We are tired of seeing billions of untaxed dollars wasted on killing and destruction when money is needed for healthcare, childcare, education, affordability here at home. This immoral, vicious cycle of man must end. President Trump, stop putting our service members in harm's way and killing people who serve your ambition and ego. You promised to be a president of peace. Your actions are those of a war monger. Not one more dollar, not one more life lost in these forever wars. Bring our troops home now! No, 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 no!
So unnecessary, if you ask me. Let me turn my phone down. Also unnecessary, if you ask me. Now, here's the thing. If you're wondering why they were arrested, it's basically because the U.S. Capitol Police arrested them for unlawful conduct such as crowding, obstructing. Okay, I find that also ridiculous after they refused to end their demonstration. Okay, it says the protesters were highlighting the impact of potential Medicaid cuts up to 35% in some proposals, which they argue would threaten their ability to live independently and force them into nursing homes. Many participants were wheelchair users and disability advocates who brought attention to the risk of losing healthcare benefits like home-based care. Police frequently arrested dozens of individuals at a time, often moving them from their wheelchairs for transport. This is all so nefarious. Okay, oh, just so nefarious at the end of the day. And also because they didn't want them in the Rotunda building, supposedly. Okay, so with that all being said, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, with that all being said, says according to biblical history, each time that God's chosen people were released from tyranny, they were given gold, silver, clothing, etc. We will eventually receive reparations. Well, not every time, but definitely when they left Egypt. And here's the thing, that is Exodus 12, 35, 36. And clearly it doesn't say every time, but it says they were given large amounts of gold and silver and clothing by the Egyptians upon leaving. This was viewed as payment for the centuries of slave labor, fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham, and provision for building the tabernacle. So with that all being said, beloveds, y'all are not going to get reparations until you make an exodus, because we are now in Egypt. This is the new Egypt. Remember, it says that in the Bible too, that you will be taken again into Egypt. So with that all being said, we're in Egypt right now, and until you leave, until we leave, until there's an exodus, a mass exodus, we will not receive a damn dime. And if y'all remember, Trump even said something along the lines, if I'm not mistaken, Trump even said something along the lines of if we left, he would give us like $100,000. Okay, do y'all remember that? Does anyone remember that? Let me see if I can find it real quick. That's the only way you're gonna get anything, because you all leave. Okay, you're not gonna get it while you're here, and that's just facts. He said for leaving the U.S. and you can't come back. That's what he said. That's what the devil said. I heard it. Okay. Oh, here's an article right here from 2019. Now, Google is telling me that Trump never said that, but I heard Trump say it. They convinced me with it. I know darn well Trump said it. I read that or either heard it. I absolutely remember. He said if they leave and they can't come back. That's what he said. And he only said 100,000. I'm like, honey, that's not even partial. Okay, that's not even partial payment as far as I'm concerned. Now, this article says exclusive Trump on reparations. I don't see it happening. Okay. And like I said, even if you do get reparations, it won't be in our lifetime. I promise you that. Okay, so President Trump on Monday said he doesn't believe the federal government will pursue reparations for descendants of slaves, an idea that has gained traction among some Democrats. I don't see it happening, Trump said in an exclusive interview with The Hill. Okay, the House Judiciary Committee held the first hearing on the issue in a decade earlier this month, and a handful of Democratic presidential candidates seeking to challenge Trump in 2020 have broached the idea. Now, mind you, this is from 2019, this article. I said, I think it's a very unusual thing, Trump said of the possibility of reparations. You have it's been a very interesting debate. I don't see it happening, no. Now, the House Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution, Civil Rights, and Civil Liberties held a hearing to examine through open and constructive discourse the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade, its continuing impact on the community, and the path to restorative justice. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell threw cold water on the idea of reparations earlier that month. I bet he did. That happened 150 years ago, for whom none of us currently living or responsible, is a good idea. We've tried to deal with our original sin of slavery by fighting a civil war, by passing landmark civil rights legislation. We elected an African-American president. Honey, they think Obama being the president was all you need. Okay, that's how they see it. Now, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee reintroduced legislation this year, initially crafted by former Representative John Conyers Jr. That calls for a study. Why they always need a study on reparations? Just like Governor Gavin Newsom said they needed a study in California. Okay, nobody got nothing yet. Now, in the 2020 Democratic primary, Senator Kamala Harris, Senator Bernie Sanders, and former Representative Beto O'Rourke were among those who voiced support for a bill commissioning a study on reparations. Please miss me with all of it, okay? No reparations is coming, and that's just what it is. I know some of you don't ever want to hear the truth, but that's the truth of the matter. Now, when y'all pack y'all bags and say y'all leaving here never to be seen or heard from again, well, they probably will give it to you then, because they'll be glad your arse is gone. But right now, they're not going to give it to you while you're here, because they already know that the MAGA type folk is going to be jealous. And like Bernie Sanders said out of his own mouth, who also, his people got reparations for something that didn't even happen on this land. Let me remind you, that's how you should know. Bernie Sanders said out of his mouth when he was asked, he said, reparations, what are reparations? And then when they told him what it was, he said, that's divisive. That's what he said. He said it was divisive. And why did he say that? Because he already knows that the MAGA type people is going to be hating, and they don't want us to get Nathan. That's just what it is. Okay, accept the truth, honey, and the facts. Now, y'all can sit there and wait till the cows come home, like I said, but it's nothing's coming, at least not in this lifetime, period. Okay, so now let's talk about Tucker Carlson's nefarious self. And that was the day that I fell out with Bernie Sanders. All that marching and getting arrested alongside Dr. King didn't mean a darn thing after he said that, as far as I was concerned. And like I said also, notice how they're always talking about a study, a commission. What do they need all that for? Did they do that for the Japanese, the Italians, the Irish, or anyone else, the Native Americans? No, they did not. Okay? No, they did not. Did they do that for the people that had the atrocity that happened in Germany? No, they did not. And also, you should really know they didn't give a darn about us, because at the end of the day, it was just a week or two ago when they literally said that slavery was not the most horrific atrocity, a crime against humanity in the world. They already said it wasn't. They voted against that. So if they don't even want to admit to their culpability, to their lies, that lets you know they don't want to take accountability. And also the fact that most of you are living under a misnomer, okay, known as African Americans. All right? That's how they got you right there, whether you know it or not. And I don't have time to break that down right now, but I can do it later on this week if you want me to let you know how I know that it's not going to happen. Okay, they use words of trickery. Okay, they use words of trickery. Please pay attention. Star Jammer said, but World War III still must fight for reparations. World War III? Is that what that is? Oh, you're saying we, but we still must fight. Got sex, beloved. You can fight all you want until you're out of breath. Gonna keep doing it. Okay. I have other things to be fighting for. Do you see what's going on in the world right now? Okay. I have a bigger fish to fry as far as I'm concerned. You can fight all you want. That doesn't mean they're gonna do anything. Hell, our ancestors been fighting for centuries. Okay, please. How do you think our ancestors felt after slavery ended and they gave reparations to the slave owners, but nothing to them? How do you think that felt? And how long ago was that? Okay, it's been over 100 years. Okay, at this point, I think I'm tired. Now, let me continue. At this point, I'm tired. So, do you all remember that nefarious story that they did? LL said, oh, Juju said, Queen is Queen. Thank you, beloved. LL said, you're right, Queen. Hold on, I keep putting up the wrong comment. Sosa said, I'm an American, period. Okay, exactly. Thank you, LL. Abishua said, teach us, Queen. I love that name, Abishua. I hope I said it correctly. Thank you, beloved. Now, with that all being said, listen, do you all remember when 60 Minutes did that broadcast about CCOT, where they sent the immigrants to, and then they took it down, or they didn't want to air it? Well, guess what? It has come to my attention that the people in Canada, I do believe it is, actually saw it. And so since some of you saw it, so now some of us saw it, the people over here in the U.S. And here is what they said. It is all nefarious. Okay, here is what they said. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. This is all so crazy. Listen to this.
CBS pulled the 60 Minutes expose of CCOT. However, as we all know, it aired in Canada, and many of us have now seen what was aired. And I hope that everyone is as horrified as I am by what they watched. Because nobody should have to live in those types of conditions. And this administration would love you to think that that's not really happening, that the conditions are just fine, but they are torturing people. They are letting people die in these facilities. This is one of the most inhumane things that has ever been exposed. And of course, it wasn't aired in the US. Of course, it was censored. Why would we ever be surprised by that? This administration is desperate to keep these things hidden and to censor all the horrific things that are being done. These types of things are going to continue to happen. So CBS pulled the 60 Minutes expose of CCOT.
Okay, that's just all so nefarious. Over there torturing those people. It is just so sad. Okay, it is absolutely nefarious at the end of the day. Torturing these people. Prayers to them. Now, with that all being said, let's go to Tucker Carlson, because Tucker Carlson is having buyer's remorse. Now he's turned against Trump and all of that. So let's go to the clip. I'm going to use an overlay for this. It's not going to let me enlarge it. Hold on, beloveds. Let me get my little overlay on here.
You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, the question does present itself immediately. Like, what is this? Was this always the plan? You don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but like clearly there were signs of low character. We knew that.
Yes.
But it didn't. There are tons of people of low character who like outperform their character. It doesn't have to be.
Sort of the norm, actually, these days, I
Right.
would say.
I've outperformed my character a lot. I don't have especially high character, right? But you try to you try your best. But what was this? Was this always the plan?
Looking back after the last year and a half, it seems like it kind of was. And it's easy. Well, you could get really deep about it and say, what was Butler? Like, how was it that and Ryan Ruth? I mean, he was subject to 2 legitimate assassination attempts. Have we ever gotten to the bottom? I know you've talked a lot about this, but have we ever gotten to the bottom of that? I haven't
talked a lot about it. I don't know the answer, but I know that those investigations have been stymied. Fact.
Yeah, stymied from the very top, from people who actually would have the power to get to the bottom of it.
And the motive.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Very much. So the enormous amount of money he got from Miriam Adelson now seems suspect to a lot of people at the time. But, there's a lot of money in politics. To run for president requires an enormous, Kathleen Camel-Toe went through $2 billion in 4 months. So sure, there's an argument to be made that you get money from those who will give it to you. It's just the nature of that game. But it's still reprehensible, and it's still a big question mark. Why would someone who has obvious and demonstrated allegiance to a foreign power give Donald Trump $250 million while he's running for president? I mean, how is that defensible? It's really not. If Russia had given a PAC for Trump, if the mayor of Moscow had somehow assembled an enormous amount of money and put it in a 501c3 for Trump's benefit, would that have been acceptable? Of course it wouldn't have been. So what does it's so basic, comes back to the money. Like, what did they get in return for that amount of investment? And it's clear.
I get it. No, of course, I agree with every word that you're saying. I just think, given his behavior and his demonstrated disloyalty and viciousness to previous supporters.
Yes.
Why wouldn't he display the same lack of loyalty to Miriam Adelson? That's kind of the question. The only people he's been loyal to are the neocons and his donors.
All right, y'all heard it. Tucker Carlson got his MAGA wake-up call. Okay, that's what that is. He got his MAGA wake-up call. Him and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owens. That's what they all got, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, because they didn't have a problem with Trump doing other people dirty, people like us, black folk. Okay, but now something happens to Charlie Kirk, and all the secrets start coming out, and now they're upset and all have buyer's remorse. So listen, I have something funny that I want you all to hear. Now, you all let me know if you want to hear it or not. Once in the chat if you do. But I was scrolling on TikTok yesterday, and there was a black conservative who was so utterly ridiculous, it's sad and pathetic. And he was going all in on black women, calling us welfare queens and all of that. And then come to find out, he's on welfare. Okay, please pay attention. Now, do y'all want to, y'all going to put ones in the chat before I can even get it all the way out? Nene said, cry me a river, Tucker, okay? Reggie said, we riding. Y'all are something else, okay? Reggie said, what an oxymoron. Honey, I will say that is absolutely true. Moron being the operative word in this part. But listen, in this situation, but I also want you all to pay attention because he said that he has a career as a rapper. And then the guy who was the host of the live told him to rap. And honey, when I tell you I was crying, okay, I was crying. Okay, please pay attention. Now, I'm going to go ahead. Danielle said, Queen, we always down with you. Thank you, beloved. I love y'all. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, I didn't record the whole stream. I recorded like maybe about 12 minutes. Okay, so let's get into it.
Systems, right? Democratic states are in net positive.
You gotta understand what the welfare queens are doing.
Democratic states are in net positive, Republican states are traditionally a net negative. But what I think is interesting about you is you're on Section 8 housing. You're on food stamps. Your children were taken away from you, and your wife left you. The only house that you live under is the roof to which was paid for you by the very women listening into the channel right now. And the only reason you can stuff your face with more food instead of, I don't know, a Planet Fitness membership is because you are eating out of the hands of the women in the chat who are feeding you. But then you had the audacity to come up here and say to those very women that, quote unquote, you're more superior than that of them, that you are, quote unquote, better than them. Well, no, by all logic, they're more of a father to your children than you ever were. Right?
Well, I am raising 2 children,
well,
so
no, you're not. Your wife is.
I'm a welfare queen. No, she's not here. I don't know where. We don't know where she is. My kids don't even know where she is.
I'm sure.
These women are lunatics, Johnny. I'm telling you. Listen to me. The women are off, man. They're not aligned with the universe.
By all logic, you're the one saying that you think women are off. But have you heard yourself? I don't know.
They didn't eat the apple. They didn't eat. I'm not educated, but
no, I know you ate. That was easy. Like to navigate.
I'm a genius, right?
I could easily tell you ate.
I know how to reason, right? Yeah, it's common sense.
You ate out of the hand of a woman in the chat who fed you and your kids because you failed to do it yourself. You know,
I'm taking care of 2 girls by myself. I could do this and more. I've done a lot in my life. I got a lot of talent. I'm very talented.
But you're not taking care of
I am.
But you're not.
Okay. Yes, everybody knows me. They know that that's accurate.
How old?
Okay.
How old?
16 and 19.
Gotcha. Okay. You're not taking care of them. And 2, you're not taking care of them. The ones who are taking care of them are those in the chat who are paying for your food stamps and your Section 8. Kelsey, thank you so much for the love drop. I appreciate the love. That was beyond unhinged. I just followed you, Kelsey.
He's talking about women are unhinged. Now, mind you, this man is on Section 8 and food stamps, but talking about black women are welfare queens? Like, sit down somewhere.
Women are unhinged.
Relax.
Back in the kitchen.
You're crashing out. See, think of what you just said.
You're crashing out when you mute.
Think of what you just said.
Yeah, he said his children are 16 and 19, and he's taking care of both of them. That guy told him you're not taking care of them. Okay? I'm sure they have jobs. And how are you taking care of them on welfare? All right? Please sit down somewhere, sir. And food stamps. Living in Section 8. And then talking about his wife left him. I'm sure she did.
You just said, quote unquote, women should go back in the kitchen. First, let me just say.
Women should go back in the kitchen. Where do they belong then? Where do they belong?
Right. Rejoin the guest request if you're not scared of me, man. I'm going to give you one more opportunity. That's going to be it. You're going to have one more opportunity, and then I'm going to permanently ban you, and I'm going to sit here and smack talk you without you here. I want you to have the opportunity to respond, but if you can't handle shutting your mouth for 5 seconds, I'm starting to see why your kids were taken away from you. Just a thought, but nonetheless, maybe it's impulse control, okay? As far
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. The children got taken away from him. So how are you taking care of them again, sir? I wonder why they got taken away. Because they're not even with the mother, supposedly.
As far as the women in the chat, I don't know if you think you're insulting them, but that's like a dumpster truck insulting a Ferrari. Like, learn your place in society, okay? You're sitting on the system, but then mocking those who need that support. By all means, if you're on the left and you need food stamps or that of Section 8, you deserve that because the Democrats, your party, and you and your family paid into that system and you fell on hard times. You deserve it. There's no shame in that. In fact, there's power in that. That is your right. As far as he didn't pay into that system. He's a MAGA Republican. He's a disproportionate net negative sitting on the system that you paid for on the left and then complaining about those on the left. Secondhand, he's also a grown man who can't take care of his own kids, feed himself, or put a roof over his own head. And then he's crashing out on you good people who put that roof over his head. Kind of crazy work, right? Like, this guy is telling the women in the chat, quote unquote, get back into the kitchen. All the while, by any logic, the only reason he could eat out of that very kitchen is because of the women in the chat working a full-time job. Now, I'm going to give him one more opportunity to come up here, but I do just ask, if you're going to be a grown MAGA man, please have a little bit of decency or dignity. It's getting embarrassing, you know? Like,
said it's getting embarrassing, okay? And then called him a MAGA man. Honey, he did say he was down for Trump. He is a whole MAGA minion, okay? Tabitha said no sound. Beloved, try going out and coming back in or refreshing your device, okay?
This is a little embarrassing.
It's embarrassing for you because that didn't make any sense. But go ahead. I don't really.
What part didn't make any sense? Go ahead.
That made no sense. You're talking about welfare queens are helping me. But welfare
Wait,
queens
you're
are
saying that
being
they're
held
welfare queens, but
by Americans, right?
you're the one on the system. How does this make any sense?
I'm a welfare queen. I'm an example of what welfare queens
Oh,
do.
so now you're calling yourself a welfare queen. That's fun.
Yes, I am. I admit it. I am a welfare queen. Yes.
And you're proud to be a welfare queen?
I'm able to show you what welfare queens do. I don't have to work. I can just sit home all day and watch novelas. And guess if I don't want to work, really don't want to work, I'll just get pregnant again.
This is your average MAGA Republican. You know what's also
This
sad
is
though
what
is like
welfare
you're
queens do.
serious.
It's sad.
But what's
It's
sad
sad
is
that
you're
you
very
support
serious. Again, the only mouth that you're feeding is your own by that of the handouts
Johnny.
you're getting from Democrats. Same thing
Johnny,
with
and my-
food stamps and that of Section 8 housing. Like you're sitting under a roof that was paid for you by Democrats and you're a MAGA Republican. Like, do you really think you're making your party look any good here? Do you think you're making
Yes, because
y'all,
numbers.
don't MAGA Republicans look awful? And you guys
No,
look
we
awful when
don't.
you guys do things like this.
In my community, 50% of the children are getting help from the government. So
Well, that sounds about
obviously,
right for MAGA.
welfare is
Now,
keeping black
nonetheless,
people
my
poor.
question here, well, no, I don't think, if you're going to start to
Oh, you don't think
self-identify
because you don't know
yourself
how
as
to
Black
think.
Americans, I can assure you they don't blame you.
You were not born to think. You were born just to tell me something you read in a book, and that's it.
Okay, so anyway, let's try something different here. We'll do a different approach. Can you tell me the name of a single policy that Donald Trump passed to benefit you?
Oh, that's easy. I would say the beautiful bill.
How did that
because
benefit
this will benefit the. It did this year. I got 10K back on my
How would
taxes.
you get 10K back? You weren't working last year.
Exactly. I only worked
I'm
3
looking at
months.
your
I made
records.
17.
Right, that doesn't make any sense then.
Remember the 17K I made last year?
I just
I
went
got
into the
10K
IRS and I
back.
looked at your records. You just said you were working. And that doesn't
I
make any sense. You
made
couldn't have gotten $10,000 back.
17K. Listen, I don't need to lie. You think my kid's not
It's
with
not.
me?
I don't need to lie. It's
I didn't make
you're wrong.
17K.
I genuinely think you
did.
probably thought you got that back, but you definitely didn't.
People seeing my what do you
You
call
seem like
it?
the kind of guy who gets a text from a Nigerian prince looking to escape his country, and you send him $20,000 to help him flee his home. You know?
What do you call that part that
He said he sounds like the kind of guy who gets an email from a Nigerian prince saying he needs $10,000 to flee his home. He is going in on him. Okay, this man needs to sit down somewhere. Talking about he made 17,000 last year and got 10 back. Okay, the math is clearly not mathing. But let's continue.
tells you how much you made? Like not the pay stubs, but when it tells you, or your gross. No, not the gross.
Sure.
Like
Okay.
your
Let's play this style. Can you tell me what exact tax deduction, credit, or opportunity you received in the Big Brutal Bill?
something with the kids, tax something because I got 10K back, so it definitely.
Yeah, but I'm asking you what it was, right? Because I don't believe you. So prove it to me.
How much? What was?
How much? What was? Well, let's see. We were talking about
The
something.
return was,
Something was your alleged tax
10K. It's like we live in a cell. The fake news don't keep it real. They got us under a spell. They want to teach us God is fake and the devil.
Hold on, let me roll this back, you guys, because now he's rapping. He seems to think at his big age that he has a rap career in his future. Okay, let me just wind it back just a little.
10K back, so it definitely.
Yeah, but I'm asking you what it was, right? Because I don't believe you. So prove it to me.
How much? What was?
How much? What was? Well, let's see. We were talking about
The
something.
return was,
Something was your alleged tax
10K. It's like we live in a cell. The fake news don't keep it real. They got us under a spell. They want to teach us God is fake and the devil is real. I wrote that one.
I can tell.
Other one.
I know.
How about they paint a picture using us as a brush, but we don't fall for their bluff. We shoot our way out the box. We post up around the clock selling dope with the Glock. No word exchange.
Remember,
with
no
the
cursing.
I didn't curse.
Just-
No word exchange with the cops. We'd rather get chased for blocks. See, I got talent. It's just
Okay.
I'm writing a song now with Kanye's Jesus Walks. You know that Jesus Walks beat? You're going to like it. You'll see. I think it might take me somewhere. Hella Browns bouncing off the ground. We need to settle our differences and set some common ground. Wait, am I saying it right? I got a brain fart.
You're going to be rapping, and then you ask him, did I say it right? His cousin is this. Goodness, Danger said he was dancing to I Will But for Donald Trump.
Listen, why you making me rap right now, man? Like I know how to rap, my nigga. Like, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to tell you that our women need to go back to the kitchen.
Right.
It's
Okay.
the only.
So anyway, I want you to continue rapping. Can you? I
Hella rounds bouncing
like
off the
what I'm
ground.
listening to.
Meet in the
So if you
middle
could
and settle
continue.
some common grounds without boots on the ground. Without boots on the ground. In brotherhood, we get the crown. Okay? So, yeah. And then boots on the ground, brotherhood, we get the crown. We're all in God's image, white, black, or brown. Right? And then I said some
Okay.
shit about
Can I
the
try one now
American dream
too?
is nothing but a wait. The American
Okay.
dream is nothing but a
Sorry.
scheme. Dreams seep to the seams like a wound when it bleeds. People scream in their sleep with thoughts of COVID-19. Heads lost in the weeds. Eyes glued to the screen. See, that's my one song. I'm telling you, I did good on that, and I rushed it for the elections. I would have did way better. But I had to get it done before Trump's, before November, basically, and yeah. But my next song is gonna be lit. My next, I'm confident because my talent is through the roof. My dad is actually a musician and a writer, so it's in my
Well,
blood.
it took me 5 seconds to write one for you, so I got one for you too. Okay, but the same way that I gave you the respect of being able to sit silent, I want some time. Okay, so don't cut me off, right? Okay, great. Okay. BGB on the block used to talk real loud, had a whole lot of pride, wore it like a thick, proud. Said he had all the answers, never needed no help. Now looking in the mirror, looking back like a stranger himself. Bills on the table, yeah, and they stacking up tall missed calls from the kids. He ain't answer at all. Court date came quick, yeah, the silence got loud, and the house feels empty, no laughter around. Used to blame everybody, every system, every hand. Never took a second just to look where he should stand. Truth hit different when he was losing what you love. No slogans in the world gonna lift you above. Thoughts? That was about your kids getting it taken away from you and you thinking you would have a career in rap.
No, I know that's good.
That was
the
good.
only problem.
See, I like it because there was truth behind it. You know what I mean? I was like, I could rap about something that's not true, and then it was like, or I could talk about BGB losing his children.
Well, the story's not true. Number one, and number two, the story's a corny story. Number
but it was
two,
also
number
true,
three,
right? Like if you don't have
no.
Anyway, hey, Sammy, thank you so much for the
action-
love. Y'all, wow, maybe I do have a career in rap. That was easy.
Your action doesn't make
Thank
a
you
good
so much
rapper.
for the love. I appreciate it. Shells, thank you so much for the galaxy. Y'all are being
There's
so
no
sweet.
pain. There's no pain in your accent. It's just soft, weak.
Well, there was no pain
you
because it
know.
was your pain I was going off of, not mine.
Well, there's more pain in
You
my
said there was
voice
no
than
pain in
yours.
what you said, Johnny, right? Because it was your pain.
There's more pain in my voice.
It was
than
your
your
pain,
voice.
not my pain.
There's more of my people on welfare than your people.
By your people, you mean MAGA Republicans, right?
I'm talking about like black and brown. Yeah, you know.
Just two things here. First off, Black Americans definitely don't claim you, and two, you don't speak for them. Okay, and what you just said is
Well,
also
I
wrong.
speak for them because
awareness.
I've lived in a
Just
black community
for
my
awareness,
whole
those
life.
who are disproportionately on the system tend
I've
to be
never lived in any
conservative,
other
white,
community.
rural, MAGA Republican men.
Why you crashing
Just
out,
for
right?
awareness. Just
No,
for
I grew up
awareness.
I'm in a black
Just
community
for
right now.
awareness.
Right now, I'm in a black
Let me
community.
ask: Black Americans, do you claim him?
Those are liberals. I don't care about no liberals.
Oh, okay. Okay. So like the 92%, like you don't care about the 92%.
This app,
You don't care about the 92%. You just care about the less than 8%.
80% of this app is liberals. 80% of this
No,
app
we're talking
is
about the
Democrats.
electorate in totality and the demographic altogether.
It's mostly
92%,
blacks here. It's
right?
That was hilarious. Okay, he needed to sit all the way down, honey. What was he thinking? Okay, D Major Skeleton said, Alexa, please play Jesus Can Work It Out. Okay, I know that's right, because he was awful. And then talking about he was very talented. Sir, he has several seats. Okay, thank you, Major Kelly, for your contribution to the channel and your insight to the topic, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Pensilola said to Queen's battle rapping. Okay, thank you, beloved. All right, I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Honey, that was our laugh for the day, because what was he thinking? Okay, what was he even thinking? Now, the reason he took to rapping is because the guy was talking about him being on the welfare and all of that. And then he said, oh, I have talent. I can rap. And the guy said, well, let me hear something. And he had the nerve to do it. He wasn't even really rapping. He was just talking. And half of the words didn't even rhyme. Honey, what was that all about? And then he said it's in his blood. His father was a musician. Sit down somewhere, sir. We don't believe you. Okay, we don't believe you. Talking about women need to get back in the kitchen. Y'all should have heard all the little stuff he was saying, honey, before. I didn't think to record it at the beginning because I was so busy laughing at this fool. Okay? Calling black women welfare queens. Honey, that guy called him a welfare queen, and then he admitted to it. I find it all interesting, but let's continue. Let's continue because Eva Marcel went in on Christian Keys. Eva Marcel went in on Christian Keys because he did a live the other day, and I was actually listening to his live. Okay, I was actually listening to his live, and so I did record some of it. But here's the thing: Eva went in on him after she saw it because clearly she too was watching. And so the thing is, he was talking trash about the people on his show, All the Queen's Men, which, by the way, was one of my favorite shows. I'm going to hate to see it go, but I definitely think it's going to be going because of the simple fact that there's some bad blood between some of the actors. Okay, there's some bad blood between some of the actors. Now, here's the thing. When Eva came out and spoke on it yesterday, I noticed on Instagram that a bunch of people were going in on Christian. And, you know, some women were talking trash, and one woman called him girly. You know, I hate when women get mad at a man that they want to imply that he's LGBTQ, even when they know he isn't, especially if he's a man who looks like Christian. That's the first thing some of them want to say. Here's the thing. I like Christian Keys. I don't think he was being girly at all. At the end of the day, if you created a work, which he did, he wrote a book, and then it became a television series, and the people who starred in that series were doing problematic things on set, and then also afterwards, they go and they start doing this little tour and using your name that you own, okay, which is All the Queen's Men, and they don't ask you and they don't give you any of the proceeds, I would be mad too. Because first of all, you should have had the decency and the respect to ask me first. And maybe I would have let you do it and wouldn't have wanted a dime. But the fact that you didn't even ask and took it upon yourself, and also you've been trash talking me, no, that's not going to work. And so I think that Christian had every right to go ahead. But you all know that very often these types of disputes in the eyes of the public opinion, it's all about popularity. Okay, because all the people loved Eva in the show. I know I did. She did an excellent job. But the bottom line is that still does not excuse her for being a participant in that tour. And also, let me just say this. It is, in my opinion, that the reason they're trying to go in on Christian is because Christian spoke out about Tyler Perry. Okay, he never said his name, but we all felt like he was talking about Tyler Perry. Okay, please miss me with it. So that's why they're mad at Christian. Because see, what they're not going to do ever is go against Tyler Perry. Okay, because they know they need Tyler Perry to put them in another show, to put them in another movie or something. Okay, they need him more so than they feel they need Christian. But you know, at the end of the day, Christian had them in his show when they had nothing going on. Okay, nothing going on. And it's so interesting how people can be so disloyal to those who help them when they had nothing going on, simply because someone else has more money than them. Okay, that's how I feel about that. That's how I feel about that. And then also some of the guys, you know, they might be close to Tyler for other reasons, for all we know. So anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to pull up a clip and let you all, you know what? Here's what we'll do. Before we get into that, I'm going to go to the story about David. Okay, then we'll get into the Christian story. Let's go to David first, because now they're claiming that they think they have a motive as to why David killed that poor young lady. Okay, so let's get into it. Like, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
International headlines. And this afternoon, we're hearing from ABC's Alex Stone. He's had some unique insights from the LAPD about this case. And Alex, again, thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk more about the motive prosecutors and police laid out today. They made it pretty clear why they think this crime was carried out.
Absolutely, Colleen, that according to investigators and what was revealed today, and something that had not been known until today, is that LAPD detectives believe that this was a way, the murder was a way for David Burke to keep Celeste Rivas quiet. That they are saying that because she was about at a time when he was beginning a world tour, when his fame was going up, he was doing interviews on media really around the world, but here in the U.S., his music was getting tens of millions of streams on Spotify and elsewhere, that he was on his way up and that he wanted to keep her quiet and not reveal a relationship that had been going on between the two of them when she was underage, under 14 years old, and that this was a way to keep that relationship quiet that she was going to expose. Now, again, this is the allegation. His side here at court just a few minutes ago saying that they contend he had nothing to do with this, that he was not the cause of her death, and that they will be able to prove it. And they're saying, let's move quickly, let's have open hearings, that they want to put it all out publicly.
Okay, well, now let's go deeper into the timeline of what we know that was revealed today. Investigators now believe Rivas Hernandez had been dead for many months before her body was found.
Yeah, as we had reported, Colleen, early on, that they knew it had probably been weeks based on the condition of her body when it was found in that front trunk of the Tesla. But today we got a much better timeline on what they were able to put together. April 23rd is the date that they are saying that she disappeared, and they think that she was murdered at that point. That is also the day that tickets for his world tour went on sale. So all of this coincides with the allegation of something happening in his life that would be moving on up, and something that could hold him down, and that they claim that the motive is there. But then on May 5th, the allegation from prosecutors that is when her body was mutilated. Again, it was dismembered in the front trunk of that Tesla. They argue it was mutilated on May 5th. But all that time, from at least May 5th, if not April 23rd, until she was found in September, the allegation is she was dead.
Such a lengthy investigation. Okay, Alex, thank you so much. Alex Stone with ABC News. We appreciate your insight.
Well, Mark Garagos came out and spoke about it. We're going to get to that, but first, let's go to this News Nation report. David allegedly lied in wait to murder Celeste. Oh, this is awful if that's what he did, honey. This is not going to be good for him at all. Okay, because that would make it murder in the first. So let's go to the footage, shall we?
In the death of the 14-year-old girl whose body was reportedly dismembered in his car all the way back in September. Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman is going to join me live in just a little bit. I have a ton of questions. Also tonight, House Oversight Committee has launched a probe into the deaths or disappearances of nearly a dozen scientists who have worked in U.S. nuclear or rocket technology. This is something that Oversight Chairman James Comer called a potential, quote, grave threat to U.S. national security if the reports are accurate. This is a major escalation. And then later, the U.S. government launched its tariff refund portal today following the Supreme Court's February ruling that President Trump was not authorized to impose those tariffs. $166 billion is going to be refunded to businesses. But what does it actually mean for you? What does it mean for the consumer? We're going to break it down. But we have to start right now. I talk big developments today, charges against David. 7 months in the making. The singer David, real name David Anthony Burke, was arraigned today out in Los Angeles in connection with the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Last September, her dismembered and decomposed body was found inside of a Tesla allegedly registered to Burke. And today, Celeste's family was in court as the 21-year-old entered a plea of not guilty. Now, Burke faces multiple charges here, including one that could put the death penalty on the table, even though there's a moratorium on executions in California. But we're talking first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a minor, and mutilation of human remains. At today's presser, District Attorney Nathan Hochman said that this murder charge includes 3 special circumstances allegations: lying in wait, murder for financial gain, and killing a witness in an investigation. So prosecutors allege, essentially, that Burke killed Celeste to protect his budding music career after she threatened to report their sexual relationship. The district attorney also saying that that relationship may have begun when she was as young as 13 years old. Now, Hochman announced a special allegation that Burke personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon described as a sharp instrument to commit this crime. Burke's attorneys, though, they fired back. They maintained his innocence. They sent us this statement. The actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. We will vigorously defend David's innocence. And yes, to be clear, David is innocent until proven guilty. And normally, this would be the point where I start connecting the dots of walking through what prosecutors say happened. I don't have to do that tonight. Why? Because the man bringing these charges is here with us. Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman joins us now live. Thank you so much for taking the time, sir. I know this is an important day for you, your office, Celeste's family, but I have been following this case every day for 7 months. So I have a lot of questions for you, and I was hoping you could clarify some things. First of all, can you tell us why David wasn't charged on Friday when he was arrested? Because I understand there were reports of a grand jury was hearing evidence. So usually, right, there would be an indictment and an arrest in conjunction. Why wasn't he charged on Friday?
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44. Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible. Nina can't code. Interesting. Can it generate reports?
It can now.
Nice. So you're saying we can all build apps now?
Yeah.
I'm on lunch. I gotta make a call.
I'll be right
my
back.
office. Just built an inventory for.
So while you are right that the reports have been that there was an investigative grand jury, in California, there's a difference between the grand juries. There's an investigative grand jury that hears testimony, can receive documents through subpoenas, and then there's an indictment grand jury. While we can't comment yet until the grand jury transcripts are unsealed by a court, I can't even confirm that a grand jury has occurred. There have been media reports that certain individuals, both cooperative witnesses and uncooperative witnesses, went in front of the grand jury. And over the last 7 months, more importantly, the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division, working with the DA's office, has methodically and rigorously gone through the forensic and digital evidence, dealt with every witness statement we could obtain in order to get to this point when we have filed the charges. And very often in Los Angeles, those charges will follow an arrest within 48 hours, unless there's a weekend of an arrest.
The reason I ask you that is because there were reports that the DA's office and the LAPD weren't on the same page, that something happened during this grand jury that stalled it, and the LAPD made an arrest, put the pressure on the DA's office to make a charging decision today. Because even in the announcement on Friday, your office had said that they were aware of the arrest. So there was this report that perhaps you weren't on the same page when it came to charging David. Your response?
That's completely unfounded. We have been on the same page, working in lockstep with the LAPD robbery homicide since they picked up this case in September of 2025, when Celeste, the 14-year-old at the time, when her body was found dismembered and severely decomposed in the front trunk of a Tesla that was owned and registered to Mr. Burke, David Burke. So again, to the extent that anyone wants to create some type of story that the LAPD and the LADA's office were not working in lockstep, that would be untrue.
So I guess the question would be, doesn't this now have to go to a preliminary hearing for there to be enough probable cause to sustain these charges? This is something that his defense attorneys pointed out today. They want an immediate preliminary hearing that would be in front of a court. It's public. It's not a grand jury. Some would say it's easier to get charges in front of a grand jury than a preliminary hearing, particularly where I believe his defense attorney is now questioning the cause of death. So I go back to the question, is this the way that you always envision this case, to present it in front of a court as opposed to a grand jury? Is there an advantage to doing this?
So we typically actually present these type of cases at a preliminary hearing. The defense has the right to request a preliminary hearing within 10 days of the arraignment, which would be 10 days from today. Often, though, what will happen in that 10 days is they will get discovery from us. That discovery is incredibly voluminous. We estimate there will literally be terabytes of digital and forensic evidence, witness interviews. At some point, the court might unseal the grand jury transcripts, and they will get the grand jury transcripts. We have now, the court today issued an order to the coroner to release the coroner's report in this case. So whether or not the defense can be ready within the next 10 days to have a preliminary hearing, the only thing I can assure you is that that preliminary hearing goes forward, we will be prepared for it.
When they're disputing cause of death, any indication about why they're doing that? I mean, it's one thing to say he's innocent, he didn't do this. They're disputing cause of death. They're putting the pressure now on your office to prove this at a preliminary hearing. Is there something about the cause of death? And I don't believe they've seen the coroner's report. Anything you could say that might raise a question about that, or why they're raising a question about that?
Again, they haven't seen the coroner's report either. So the idea that there's a question over a report that they haven't seen yet and the cause of death, again, the defense will engage in whatever strategies and tactics and make whatever statements they have. At the end of the day, though, we will prove our case in court. At a preliminary hearing, it's by a a probable cause level of, and in a trial, it will be beyond a reasonable doubt.
Can you clarify something? Again, it came out today, but I just want to make sure I'm accurate. Your theory of the case is that Burke allegedly lured Celeste out to this property, that she was going to report, him to the police about their relationship, and that is why he killed her? And if I'm correct, how do you intend to prove that?
So the actual details of the evidence will be presented at the preliminary hearing and later at a trial. What we charge, though, and what the complaint charges is first-degree murder with 3 different special circumstances. The first one is lying in wait. And the allegation, as alleged in the complaint, is that Burke invited Celeste to his house the night of April 23rd, 2025, at which point he was lying in wait to murder her. The second special circumstance that was charged, and by the way, the reason you end up charging special circumstances in California is that if you have first-degree murder and you get convicted of it, it's 25 years to life.
Right.
But that allows the life sentence to be with the possibility of parole. If any one of the 3 special circumstances is found beyond a reasonable doubt by the jury, that then creates a life without the possibility of parole sentence, or if we so choose to seek it, the death penalty.
You mentioned cooperating and non-cooperating witnesses. I will tell you, people will look at this and say, okay, if the allegations are true, how on earth could David, this singer, kill this girl, dismember her body, leave it in a Tesla all by himself? There are those who say there's no way that he could have done this by himself, yet he's the only one charged. Are we dealing with a circumstance where there might be others involved, but they're cooperating, and if they choose not to cooperate anymore, they may be charged? Because I was listening to the press conference today. I was wondering if there's a little bit of opening that other people might be involved here.
Farm in the wild, raise animals and harvest crops, make food for yourself and for...
We have an ongoing investigation in the sense that if any individuals have information about Mr. Burke or anything dealing with this particular crime, please at any time reach out to the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division or the DA's office and bring us that information. With respect to any potential other individuals, as I said during the press conference, if and when we charge anybody else, and I'm not saying we will, you'll be the first to know.
And I have to ask this, but there was a lot of reports about Neil Langston as a potential friend of David who was reportedly arrested, brought back to testify. Is this one of the individuals we should be looking at?
Again, I'm not going to comment one way or the other about any particular additional individuals or whether there are any additional individuals. What we did with respect to individuals who wanted to either cooperate with our investigation or were uncooperative is that they often receive subpoenas to come in and testify in order for us to get the information to make the decision we made today to file these charges.
You called this a parent's worst nightmare. Based on everything I've seen in this case and what you described today, you're 100% right. What was it like sitting down with Celeste's family? Because during the course of these 7 months, we really haven't heard too much from them, and I understand why.
You know, I mean, as any parents, and I am a parent of 3 children, can appreciate, when your daughter goes missing, and she went missing the night of April 23rd, 2025, and days go by, first hours go by, then days, then weeks. You don't know if she's alive. You don't know if she's dead. And then months go by, over 4 months, until finally it comes to light that your daughter's body has been cut up, mutilated. It's decomposing in bags inside of a front trunk of a Tesla all the way into September of 2025. Then you want to know, I mean, that not only is that your worst nightmare, that is the most horrible possible result that can happen. And now you want justice at some level. It'll never bring her back. It's impossible. But you want the killer and that murderer found, brought to court, have the evidence presented, convicted, and punished. And that's what we intend to do.
The medical examiner's report, before I let you go, talked about it being unsealed. When can we expect it to be unsealed, and what can we expect to be in that report regarding cause of death? And you also mentioned that Burke allegedly used a sharp instrument. How much is that report going to fill in the details?
Until that report's public, I can't comment on it, but I will tell you that the judge issued the order today to the coroner's office to make it public. I don't know how fast they'll respond to that order. I would imagine expeditiously. So I would imagine, again, within the next several days or week, that report will become public, and then you can read it and make your own determinations.
DA Nathan Hochman, again, appreciate you taking the time after what is a very long day to help clarify some information in this case. Appreciate you. Thank you.
I think that David is a psychopath, because the fact that he likely knew that girl was dead, I absolutely think he did. And I also think that he had help. But the fact that he knew that girl was dead in that trunk and he was still able to go perform concerts, to still be just living his life, okay, like it's golden, when you have a whole dismembered body in the trunk of your Tesla. Okay, that's absolutely nefarious. Now let's go to Mark Garagos, because he too was on News Nation, and here's what he had to say about it. Like, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. LAPD forced DA's office to file David murder case. Okay, so here with Mark Garagos. I mean, that child was 14 years old. That is so sad. And what was he even thinking? You know, and I don't think that he felt like she was going to tell on them about the relationship. I think that more so he knew that eventually it's going to get out and people were already talking. And so he just wanted to get rid of that problem. Okay, but why was he even talking to such a young child in the first place when he's a whole grown man? Like, that's ridiculous. And then somebody said, I think it was Sheila Askins, that said that there was a video of him cleaning blood off of some shoes. Yes, I showed you all that video, beloveds, when this story first came out. Remember, I was reporting on it consistently. And that's one of the clips that I showed, where he was cleaning the blood off of what looked to be a girl's sneakers. Okay, also nefarious, but let's get into it.
Nathan Hochman, and particularly one of the things that had been addressed over the weekend, and a lot of speculation was there a disagreement between the LAPD and the DA's office? Your opinion after hearing the DA?
Well, what was left unsaid here, I'll start with what you ended with. The judge ordered the medical examiner to release the report. Do you know why the judge ordered the medical examiner to release the report? The DA forgot to mention that he went in not once, but twice. First time was rebuffed by a judge to shut down the medical examiner from releasing the report or talking about this report, because precisely the DA's office was at odds and LAPD was at odds with the medical examiner.
Let me just stop for a moment. Pensacola says, art imitating life, diabolical demons. Yes, I absolutely agree. Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. You know, this absolutely is art imitating life, in my opinion, because if you all remember, I showed you a video of David. I actually muted the audio, but I showed you all a video of David where he had blood on him and he was dragging a corpse, and then he put it in the trunk. Okay, like really what has transpired. He was dragging the corpse of a girl and then put the body in the trunk. Do you all remember that? And then he even wrote a song about Celeste, and I believe he has her name tattooed on him. And she had his name tattooed on one of her fingers, on the inside of one of her fingers.
Don't believe me? Go onto the website, check out the press releases, not once, but twice by the medical examiner. 43 years I've been doing this. I've never seen that happen before or during. In fact, I was in a trial just last month where I asked one of the people from the medical examiner's office, have you ever seen this before? And he said, never. And so this idea that somehow there was no friction, there was no odds, that we just arrested this guy, LAPD arrested him on a Thursday, and we didn't have a complaint, we didn't have a grand jury indictment. Let me tell you what is really happening here, because you didn't exactly get, in my opinion, the straight story. What is happening here is LAPD masterfully played the DA's office to force them into filing this case. DA's office was not ready to file this case. They have to now file it. And by the way, it's not just me. The defenders, not public defenders, private counsel who appeared today, they said, we want our preliminary hearing and we want it now, in spite of the fact that there's terabytes and terabytes. I don't even know that most people understand the volume of information. And by the way, if this was such a clear-cut case, why did it take them 7 or 8 months? And why did the DA have to go outside? Why did he, first of all, muzzle the coroner and then hire outside experts?
I do have a question about that. He indicated today there's no smoking gun, but it's the totality of the evidence. And they had to talk about not just how Celeste died, but who did this. And they filed multiple special circumstances. So essentially different theories to different paths of conviction, lying in wait, that she was a witness to an investigation, financial gain. And you talked about whether there were cooperating or non-cooperating witnesses, terabytes of data. This feels like a big, perhaps a challenging case to defend in the end. I mean, where do you see this? Again, I know you don't know all the evidence, and neither do we, but you know, they seem confident saying he's not the cause of death. But how do you defend something like this?
Well, I will tell you how you do it. When you open up the discovery and you see that the medical examiner was not ruling this a homicide to begin with, when you see that LAPD internally, and they will get this because it's exculpatory evidence, had repeatedly said, you've reported on it, said, we don't even know that a crime was here. They then file charges where they say it was with a blunt instrument. Well, duh, they knew that because the body was dismembered and that required a blunt instrument. That doesn't mean that was the cause of death. That could have been after death. They still don't have a cause of death. They don't know whether it was an accidental overdose, how she died, when she died, or anything else. Everything about this case just reeks. And so I would respectfully, Jesse, disagree. I think the defense is going to have a field day with this case because of the way that it's been approached.
Which brings me to another point. You are the go-to attorney in Hollywood. How come you're not representing David Anthony Burke right now?
You know, there was a report today, I don't know if it was the New York Post or the California, you know, different people want different style lawyers, and I get that. And this is a capital case, and for a capital case, the resources you would need to defend that are astronomical. And so I'll leave it at that.
Okay, that's fair. I guess the question becomes, you know, as we're looking at this, and I thought it was really interesting, you know, the cooperating witnesses, the non-cooperating witnesses, and whether it goes to a grand jury. I still raise the question. It seems very difficult, if the allegations are true or what they're asserting here, that David did this by himself or allegedly did this by himself. I think the other people potentially around him are going to be another part of this story. I might be wrong, but where do you see this? Because if that's the case, that might complicate this case in different ways.
Well, absolutely it complicates the case, because if they were given immunity, you know, the DA said they were given subpoenas. Nobody who's a sentient being is going to go in and testify in a murder investigation without immunity if you get subpoenaed. If they were given immunity, then the question becomes, what was their story before immunity? What was their story after immunity? Do you have documentary evidence? You know, they discussed today, at least the DA did, that there was digital and forensic style or evidence. And if that is the case, one would hope that they had that and that they had preserved that. If that were the case also, though, it begs the question. If you had, I know how long it takes to get cell phone evidence, cell tower evidence, and text messages. If you had that and law enforcement could get that within a week, and you had video from the cameras both inside the house and inside the car, once again, why was LAPD 2 months into this investigation saying they weren't sure a crime had been committed? Why in the world did it take 8 months for this gentleman to be arrested? And by the way, why was he arrested and the DA had not filed a complaint or had presumably asked the grand jury to indict? This idea, by the way, of an investigative grand jury and a criminal indicting grand jury is really, with all respect, nonsense. Grand jury operates on the 13th floor of the criminal courts building. Any grand jury that is impaneled there to hear evidence can indict. So that's just a cop-out, frankly.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation.
Listen, let me tell you all something. I don't think that David acted alone, but here's the thing. Now, someone called Mark Garagos PDF file defender. I don't think it's that he's defending David. He's going by his knowledge of the law and how these trials usually turn out with certain scenarios being in play here, beloved. Okay, because he's been doing this out, I think like 40 plus years. So in homicide cases, prosecutors don't technically need a medically determined cause of death to get a conviction, but they have to definitely have proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, since they don't know how she died, there is a very good chance, pay attention, there's a very good chance, in my opinion, that the defense is going to be able to raise a certain level of reasonable doubt from the jurors. Okay, I mean, it's not always as cut and dry because as it may seem. Okay, so the person, Celeste is dead. Was it caused by a criminal act? Was it an accident? Was it self-deletion? Was it natural causes? All of these things are going to be questions that the defense throws out there, to cause a reasonable doubt. And they'll have to prove that the defendant is responsible. The prosecution will have to do that. Okay, and when you're trying to when you're dealing with a case like this, it's sometimes called proving the corpus delicti. Okay, proving the corpus delicti. So, and that means basically the fact that a crime occurred. Now, we know that she was cut into pieces, but how did she end up dead? They're going to bring all of this up. And then David has money, because he's a new artist. So I'm quite sure the record label is probably going to pay for his defense. Okay, he's going to have some very good attorneys. So that's just what it is. I mean, we don't know how this is going to turn out. Okay. Another thing, too, is courts can rely heavily on circumstantial evidence, like was the victim healthy and then suddenly disappeared under suspicious circumstances? Was there evidence of violence, a struggle? Was there blood and injuries? The defendant's behavior, were there any the defendant's behavior, like were there any inconsistent statements? Did he try to flee? Has he been caught in lies? Did he say anything incriminating? Okay, and he likely hasn't, because I'm sure these high-powered attorneys that I'm sure he has have told him what to do. They've probably prepped him before a serious interrogation. Okay, then it'll also go on forensic clues. Okay, will there be DNA evidence? Okay, were there any cleanup attempts? Now, we did see him on a video cleaning blood off of sneakers. At least that's what it looked like. But will they be able to substantiate that? Okay, is there digital evidence? They have claimed that it was. So I guess we'll all have to see. Okay, I guess we'll all have to see with that all being said. But let's go to Christian Keys. Lights up, everyone, please like and share.
Yeah, or retaliates against you for speaking up against sexual harassment, that means they're okay with that Black Epstein kind of behavior. Ever again. And you probably won't see them on a whole bunch of other things because they're not very good actors. You know what you're going to get when you hire reality stars and strippers. And you work with them. Like, we shooting that first season in the bubble. I got about 6 or 7 hours at night where 3 of those I got to rewrite the rest of the season because there was no writer's room on all of Queen's Men season 1. I was the writer's room. Any changes or adjustments had to be made. I changed the dialogue, and if pieces had to be moved around, the story editor might have scooted this over there or this over there, but that was it. Any of the writing that was done, dialogue and story-wise, I had to do. So I'd spend time with the dancers, the strippers, the reality stars afterwards and try to guide them towards, you know, being a solid actor. And then a couple seasons later, now they showing up high, a couple days a week, treating your thing like it's a music video. So cool. And the studio, you know, you mentioned it, the studio ain't gonna let you, they didn't let me remove anybody. Like, this is inappropriate, this is unprofessional, y'all gonna tolerate this? Cool, got it. So now that the show is back to me, yeah, those characters don't exist anymore. Unfortunately, they're not alive anymore. So yeah, Madam, Babyface. I gotta look back and remember, but I know they definitely got their head blown off, both of them. So yeah, after season 5, they're not around anymore in the story, and go back to doing what they do. Wish them the best. We went with Eden. We went with Eden for her name. I think it's perfect with the Garden of Eden, with the way that the story of Eden has been a blessing to us. My snake's name is Eden. No, it's not too old to, what you ask me? Are you too old to, are you too old to get a tattoo? I'm not gonna tell you to go get one of them. They hurt. You might get up and walk out in the middle of it. If you've never gotten one, I say maybe start with something small, or don't do it unless you're absolutely sure you want to look at this thing for the rest of your life. Every day for the rest of your life, you're going to see it in the mirror, unless it's on your back or your ass. And then you're not going to see it. Somebody else might see it if they're back there by your ass. But do the research if you really want to do it. Because, what that mean? Oh, he gone too. What that mean? Careful. Watch out now. You don't get to talk shit about nobody and they can actually see the comment. No update on all the Queen's Men. I do believe that's, hold on. She said, what's the noise? Go ahead. Jay is, yeah, go ahead, brother. Jay is over here freshening up the lion on this side. He did it initially, so, and he did all of the artwork that I get to call mine. He did all of that. So, Madam is in season 5, yes. Who gone to? Hold on. Yeah. Victorious? What do you mean, who gone to? It does hurt, but also, I'll say this. Now, there's a cheat code, right? If you got a primary care physician you got a doctor that you go to for your physicals and your blood tests, and you get a call for whatever. Mine, I asked her for the industry strength lidocaine, which helps numb some of it. Probably it takes about 20 to 40% off of it, of the pain off. It's not terrible, but I appreciate that, Ms. Widow. We do have a skincare line, and thank you for that. I appreciate. I'm a little oily, but that's a good thing. It used to irritate me when I was a kid with the oily skin, but then I realized when you get older, the oilier.
Okay. Now, that all being said, you all heard Sheila said, that's annoying. I don't like needles. I know, right? He was getting his tattoo re-inked so that it would, the color, I guess, was fading. But now listen. So he was saying they can't act. They were showing up at work drunk. Okay, and high, I think he said, that nobody did anything about it. He asked them, aren't y'all going to do anything about this? But nobody did. And so that was part of the problem. But also, they shaded him because of the whole Tyler Perry thing that he came out with, and then went on that tour. So here's what Eva Marcel had to say when she got wind of the tea that was spilled. So she said, I believe him. I do too. Okay, I absolutely do too. Now, with that all being said, and here's the thing, I don't go with popular opinion as most people do. I go with the facts and the receipts and what is right. That's why when you see all of these foolish Black women going in on Clarissa Shields, honey, you're not going to get me to go in on Clarissa Shields. They're doing that because some of them are Remy Ma fans, which is fine. I get it. I'm a Remy Ma fan too. I don't know why people think sometimes they have to pick a side. You can be a fan of both and just look at it objectively. You know what I'm saying? Play devil's advocate if you have to. But they go in on Clarissa Shields, and some of them I think are colorists, because she's darker, and then some of them are just haters. But at the end of the day, I'm not going in on her at all, and I'm always going to defend her when they're going in. Now, here's what Miss Eva had to say. Let me share my screen. And then I'm going to give you all your lifelines and then for today, and then I'm out of here. And I don't know if I'm coming back because I am so tired. Okay, so Eva Marcel checks Christian Keys for speaking on her role as madam while discussing all the Queen's men. Keep your misery and victim behavior away from me, she says. Honey, she went in, did she not? Okay, so here's what she said. Warning, do not speak on me, period. Please, positive vibes only. I have stayed out of all your messy mess. Keep your misery and victim behavior far away from me. God's child winners only. Do not tell any lies about me, and I will not tell the world the truth about you. Go on in life with peace. As a creator, I created yesterday, I create today, and I will create tomorrow. Just create again and let go of bitterness. It is not becoming of a seasoned man of your big age. Ooh, honey, shots fired. Okay, shots clearly fired. What y'all got to say about it? What y'all got to say about it? I find it all nefarious, okay, to say the least. And so that all being said, Eva needs to sit down somewhere. Okay, she needs to sit down somewhere, in my opinion, because she's calling that man bitter. Let me tell y'all something. She would be bitter too if it happened to her. She would absolutely be bitter if it happened to her. Okay? D Major Scale said, please don't leave, Queen. If you don't sit down somewhere, honey, I'm hungry and tired. And that's a terrible combination. Okay? It's a terrible combination. You want me to start going in on people? I get grouchy. Reggie says, hold on. I don't think I ever heard this word. Reggie said, I'm like this Eva. I'm like this. Eva is a sycophant. Okay. What is that? Somebody nefarious, clearly. Sheila said Eva can be dramatic. Okay. She can be a dramatic person. Yeah, she can. But here's the thing. Miss Mississippi said Eva has no story without him. I agree. But here's the thing, though. And then he threw shade at him. Now, Christian, I got to hand you the keys to the kingdom for throwing the shade at him, because he clearly said when you get reality show stars and strippers, the shade of it all, right? But no lies detected, because Eva was a reality show star. She played on, well, she was on America's Next Top Model, and then she was also on Real Housewives of Atlanta for a season or two, no less. And then the rest of them, I guess they were scrippers, okay? So Juju says she can't even act. Well, I would say that she could act pretty good. She looks like the female version of Terrence Howard to me. Her and Terrence Howard look like they could be brother and sister, in my opinion. Now, I happen to like Eva, but I just feel like she shouldn't have gone in on Christian. And she definitely shouldn't have done that tour that was all bogus and clearly capped. Okay, it was all bogus and clearly capped. Okay, and Christian said it wasn't legit or whatever, because mind you, they used his name. Songwriter Sonny Reggie. Songwriter Sonny just said sycophant sounds like a term they redacted on the Epstein files. Okay. So sister said Eva got the big head now. You know, here's the thing. I just feel like these people are being ungrateful. And like I said, they're choosing sides with Tyler Perry, in my opinion, because Tyler Perry has all that cash and has a whole lot more power and pull. And this is absolutely what some people will do. Some people will just shun you if everybody else turns against you. And I feel like for her to call him bitter and to say he's got victimhood or whatever, to try to dismiss whatever he feels that he went through, that's just not cool. You know what I'm saying? That's just not cool at the end of the day. Because I'm pretty sure she knows that man is not lying about what he said. I'm pretty sure that Eva knows that man is not lying about what he said about the billionaire who made advances toward him, whom we all believe, collectively, mind you, was Tyler Perry. Okay, but see, here's the thing. They don't want to step to Tyler Perry or say anything against him, like I said, because they need those roles. They're hoping and praying and wishing that he puts them in something else. And also, they don't want to end up like Monique, blackballed. Okay, they don't want to end up like Monique. So, you know, I get it. I absolutely get it. But if I were them, what I would have just done is just remain neutral. I just would have tried to remain neutral. I would not have been talking smack about Christian. Okay, I would not have been siding with Tyler Perry. I just would have stayed neutral. It's not my business. My name is Bennett and I ain't in it. That's what I would have done. Okay, that's what I would have done. All right, because first of all, you know, you have to be careful what bridges you burn. Okay, because hey, for all she knows, Tyler Perry might go down in flames if any more nefarious allegations come out. Okay? If any more nefarious allegations come out, Tyler Perry could go down for all they know, and then Christian's still going to be making movies, all right, or whatnot, and shows. That's all I'm saying. RN Sir, I'm not even sure how to say your name. Ren Sir is what I'm going to call you. 5793 said, their lack of talent is not blackballing. You are low down and nefarious for that, beloved. Okay, you are low down and nefarious. My name Paul, and that's between y'all, says Sheila. Okay. Reggie says, honey, I've been blackballed. Okay. I've been blackballed too, boo. I've been blackballed by ScrewTube, okay? Which is why they unsubscribed some of y'all. And let me just remind y'all again for the record to double check and make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you're not receiving the notifications. Because y'all know they got the queen, honey, blackballed for sure. Okay? That's right. Danger says sometimes it's best to be quiet. Exactly. Okay, Eva has been had a stank attitude. Okay, period. Now, with that all being said, let me give y'all's lifeline so I can get out here and get me something to eat before I pass out and start going in on all of y'all. All right. Let me find it. Here it is. This woman claims, now you all may remember that a few months ago, I told you all, I showed you all the receipts, how some of this AI can fool people and how they tricked people and had people's family and friends like on a video is completely AI generated, and they had them on a video where it looked like they were being arrested for shoplifting, or like they were not that they were being arrested, but like they were actually shoplifting. And then there was a news report that comes out showing the person and you know, giving a description and all of that, and the people are sitting at home shocked. It looks so real. And I told you all how dangerous that is, because at the end of the day, they could frame people like that. They could absolutely frame you like that. The police, anybody could frame you. So this is what happened to this lady, and we're going to get into it. But hold on, I just saw a comment that I wanted to read. Hold on. Hold on. Let me scroll through here. Ha! Measure Man, you are low down. This is not the comment I was looking for, but it'll do. Measure Man said they all grab their ankles. Ooh, you are wrong for it. Let me just tell y'all something, honey. Okay, let me ask a question first. Reggie said Queen's Men was a play before it was a show. Exactly. Okay, exactly. And that's where I met Christian Keys. When Christian Keys was doing a play back in 2005. I think it was called All Men Can't Be Dogs, if I'm not mistaken. But here's the thing. I know I showed y'all the picture, but anyway, let me just say this. Now grab their ankles. This is just throwing me off. Now I can't remember where I was about to go. I had something to say and it just escapes my mind at this point. Eva was talking for Tyler. Yeah, I absolutely believe so. I absolutely believe it. Okay, I absolutely believe it. Now, with that all being said, I wish I could remember what I was about to tell y'all. Anyway, let's go to the lifelines, beloveds. Songwriter Sunny said, beige rage is definitely something you can't trust. Okay, that's why it was better to just go with Trump. I don't know about that. Going with Trump is the last thing anyone should be doing, beloved. Please pay attention. D Major said, stick around until you remember Queen. Sit down somewhere, honey. I am absolutely not. Okay, hopefully it'll come to me before the live ends. I'm going to go to this next clip, mind you. And so she said, y'all see Queen so tired. She forgot what she was about to tell us. Exactly. You know how you get a brain fog when you're really tired? Y'all don't even get it. I have been up since 3 o'clock this morning because I had somewhere to be at 6:30. And then I rushed home from there to do this live. Y'all are so disrespectful and low down and nefarious, okay? Y'all don't care anything about me. Y'all don't care anything about the Queen. All y'all want is the information I give, and y'all don't care how I have to get it or what I have to go through. I get on this live every damn day trying to do the best that I can do. YouTube will not even pay me what I work. They have me shadow banned. They constantly are unsubscribing people from the channel, and they don't even recommend my damn videos. And y'all just want to work me like I'm Kunta Kinte. Okay, did I tell y'all I was an actress too? Please pay attention. Christian, if you're looking for anyone to star in All the Queen's Men, I'm here. Okay? So, that all being said, okay, the infamous Marty Marr said the Queen is tired and hungry. Yes. Can't y'all see I'm delusional at this point? Okay, let me stop. Let me go to the footage. Likes up, everyone. Shawshana said the poor Queen needs food and sleep. No, Reggie is not playing violins. The nerve. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. Low down and clear to nefarious. Let's go to the footage. I am done. OG Patrice said, and the Oscar goes to. Cherokee to sit down said, stop, Queen. You having me laugh too hard. Okay, I need to sit down somewhere, but not the violins. Reggie, how dare you? Okay, so let's go to this footage because this woman literally almost got 5 years in prison. Okay, according to her. Let's get into it.
I just wanted to jump on here really quickly, and because I went to court today, and this is a pretty serious issue because I went to court today. I won my case though. It was thrown out, it was dismissed, but the fact that someone was able to submit a fake altered AI video of me and submit it as evidence in a court of law and a judge not be able to see or determine that it was AI is absolutely insane. I was looking at the video. The video was an actual recording of a chain of events. However, That is not how the night went. I appeared, my eyes look so different in the video, and I'm sitting in the courthouse like something is off with this video. It's not me. It looks like me, but I'm not drunk. I don't drink. I'm not high. I've never smoked. I've never done drugs in my life. But yet in the video, I appear drunk, super inebriated. It looks as though I was sitting there double second guessing myself. Like, wait a minute. Is this what Ring camera recordings look like? This person submitted Ring camera footage of me, and that's how I appeared, drunk and high, and slurring over my words a bit. And my best friend even said, after we finished the hearing, why did you look like that? Something was wrong with that video. That's not you. And in court, the judge even said, you've been drinking or smoking. If you were smoking or whatever, it's legal. You're grown. But that's the scary part that's the scary part. We don't have any legislation. How do people know? How would a judge? How can a judge tell? There needs to be legislation that AI is stamped, AI is documented. There is no way on God's green earth that someone was able to go and alter a video of me and submit it and pass it off as accurate and sound. Again, thank God the case was dismissed, but that can happen to anyone. My case wasn't even, it was serious enough, but it can happen to anybody. Anybody's life can be changed instantly with a fake altered video from AI. What can we do about legislation? What is being done about legislation? Because if this happened to me in California, this can happen to anybody, anywhere.
Okay, could happen to anybody, anywhere. It's all nefarious. Okay, so we have to be careful. And so Measure Man said they're pushing legislation. Well, I hope it passes. Okay, I hope it passes. Reggie says they sure did, and they can activate your cam remotely. This is all nefarious. Ooh, honey. Deidre said, how did it even get that far? I think that the person was hating on her. They were mad at her about something or whatever and wanted to set her up. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it is an ex that supposedly did that to her. But it's all crazy. Juju said, Queen, you can replace Eva's role. Okay, honey, I'm telling you, I could do it. I could do it, honey. Please pay attention. Oh, I know what I was going to ask y'all. Now, I just remembered. I want to ask the ladies in the chat. Okay, the ladies in the chat, who was your favorite dancer on All the Queen's Men? Who was your favorite dancer on All the Queen's Men? Let's see what y'all have to say. And anybody else that wants to chime in can add in too. Reggie said he wants to be the new Diamond. Reggie, if you don't sit down somewhere, not the new Diamond. Cassandra said, I love you for life, beloved Queen. Thank you, beloved. I love you right back. And Lola said, I don't know. I'm going to tell y'all who mine was. Reggie says, just the ladies who are being discriminatory, Queen. Really? Some of y'all never saw the show? How could y'all have missed it? Well, anyway, I'm just going to tell y'all, my favorite dancer on the show was definitely Baby Boy. Okay, Baby Boy was the one for me. I'm sorry. He was the best of the best. Reggie said, okay, I'll be Uncle Clifford. Ooh, I wish that show was coming back because that was my show too. Okay. Uncle Clifford was a whole mess too on the, what was it called? P Valley. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, Reggie said Baby Boy was a freak. Wasn't he though? But he was a fine one. He was a fine one, honey. All right. Almost as fine as my man, but not quite. Please pay attention. Okay, so with that all being said, listen, for those of you who watch Divorced Sisters, the second half of season 1 is now on Paramount Plus. Okay, and it's juicy and clear and nefarious. With that all being said, OG Patrice says she likes Bolo. All right. Well, I know somebody that knows him. I know somebody who knows him, beloved. Now, let me get out of here because y'all think y'all are so slick. Okay, I'm out. Listen, I love you all to life. It has been my pleasure, as always, to bring you all the news and updates. I might sneak back on later on. I'm going to have to take me a good nap, though. I'm not going to promise. But with that all being said, even still, I will be back tomorrow, okay, with your updates and all of that. So listen, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hate